All right, we live. Yes.
All right.
Jessica, aka Melaninmoonseed, welcome to the QVC archives. This is the
Thank
first
you.
archive in QVC history. How do you feel about that?
I am excited and honored that you have chosen me to be the first.
Very well. Well, let's get started. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself, um, your sign, the pronouns you prefer, and where you are from.
My sign is in my zodiac sign. Did you say my zodiac sign? What'd you say?
Yeah, your sign. Your zodiac sign.
Okay. Virgo sun, Aries moon, and Scorpio rising. I am from Chicago and am full of surprises.
Yes, indeed.
So I have a lot of interests and I do a lot of different things.
Nice. Well, so why don't you go ahead and set the scene for us? Talk about what was your first experience with tarot reading. Like how did it develop spiritually and professionally for you, and to what it is now. Usually when we think of tarot reading, especially within the Black community, it's more thought of as negative, demonic, voodoo. And I just want to know from your personal experience, what was that like for you?
Um, it I definitely grew up that um, with that mindset when it comes to really any form of um, African-based spirituality. And then yes, definitely with spiritual tools such as tarot cards. Um, I would say I my journey it really it's a really long story. I would say my introduction to tarot um, was through a tarot reading. A friend of mine was like you have to go and get a reading done from this woman. She's like the real deal type of thing. So kind of like my friend telling me that I'm going was my first introduction to um, tarot cards, and this was a few years ago. Um, and at the time, I did not think it would get to a point where I would become a reader. Um, but I would say it has been it's it using tarot cards was kind of a key for me to unlock certain aspects of myself and allow me to explore um, a part of me that really I was running away from. So it definitely is. It's a door opener to spiritual insight and to gaining understanding to who you are, your fears, um, what drives you. So it's not even just about the spiritual aspect. It can be used as a life tool. So um, it really has been life changing. I never thought like it really was a personal thing um, that I was doing for myself, and then I wanted to practice with friends. So I would ask them, hey, can I try this? I've taken a tarot reading class, um, and that kind of stemmed into me just getting more knowledge. Um, and even then, like I think that's the teacher of that course. Um, she was telling me that I was really talented and that she really could see me reading publicly. At the time, I was just like, okay, sure. I didn't think much of it. I wasn't against it either, but
Hmm.
here I am now.
Right.
um, so yeah, even reading publicly, reading for people, I haven't really put myself out there like that, but it just started off as a word of mouth thing,
Mm.
um, to the point where now, it's like maybe I should really consider putting myself out there more because I do enjoy it. It's always Tarot is always going to be a personal, spiritual, and life tool for myself, for me.
Mm.
However, I also enjoy how it can allow other people that same opportunity that it has given me. So
Mm.
I, I'm I love that I can provide that service for people that are interested in it. So yeah.
Mm. Nice. I like that. So that's a nice transition, Jess. Really
Thank
nice.
you.
Like it. So how did you come up with the name Melaninmoonseed? That's a very unorthodox type of name. So how did that spar from?
Well, I wanted something that the melanin was something just really geared towards the audience that I was wanting to reach, full of color. Um, However, I am all inclusive, but I definitely wanted to make that known.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Moonseed has a couple of different aspects to it. Moonseed is an actual plant, but also my just breaking the two words moon and seed. For me, moon is all about the subconscious, your subconscious self, your shadow self, and in this internal side of you that is not always, you don't necessarily put that on the forefront very often. Um, and seed is all about, what does a seed do when you plant it? It grows, it sprouts, and it sprouts leaves and branches, but it also um, grows deeper into the ground, and has roots. So you are not only just allowing yourself the insight subconsciously to grow upward and to get enlightenment, but also that enlightenment allows you a deeper knowledge um, on so many different levels. So putting all those things together is what inspired Melanin Moonseed.
So the root, the core, I
Mhm.
like it. It's nice. It's not something I've ever heard of. So when I first when I first seen Melaninmoonseed, I'm like, who is this? At first when I first seen it. And then when you told me it was that's who it was, Melaninmoonseed, I was like, of course it makes sense. Fucking Virgo. So tell me a little bit about what your process is like as an energy alchemist, intuitive reader. What do you see or feel? Like, how does the process go when you're reading? And like, how do you process like those different emotions? And then how do you clear it?
um, I have um, always been able to read energy quite easily. It's something I've always been able to do. Um, However, once I accepted that that's what it was and realized that, as in when you have that empathic ability, but also um, when you can process that. At first, I didn't know what that meant or how to control it, and it really just controlled me. So if I was around somebody that energetically was very draining or very toxic in some way, um, I would not know how to clear myself of that energy. It would really just kind of wear me out. Um, and you just kind of like, I would feel really fatigued.
Hmm.
Um, but as I started on this, um, this path, And I realized in the process of that, abilities that I naturally have has progressed, and also other abilities have come to light. Um, so when it comes to reading people's energy, um, I can do it intentionally, or it's something that just happens. Like I don't necessarily have to be trying to read anybody's energy. It just it's like if it's something I need to be aware about, it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of, it's almost like a radar. And like you have a radar screen, and you have little bleeps on the radar, and um, right, exactly. Exactly. So somebody could be walking by, and it's like, oh, well, and I can pick up on that energy, but I don't necessarily do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but when I am reading for someone, or doing some type of spiritual work for someone, healing work or something like that, and I'm really zooming in, um, I once I am processing that energy, I'm always explaining like what's going on, what I'm actually feeling. Sometimes I'm seeing things, sometimes it's just um, a feeling just within my body. Sometimes I hear things. So how I receive the energy varies. Sometimes it's a combination of the three. A lot of times it depends on the person. Um, when it comes to clearing the energy, it really is just about me um, energetically, or just having kind of in my mind's eye, physically, like, well, energetically, just kind of releasing it. Um, but then also it depends on the work. If I'm doing healing for people, with people that have passed on, things like that. Um, so a lot of times, if I'm communicating with spirit, um, or a soul that has transitioned, they typically know when that exchange is over. Um, and I just kind of thank them um, for their time, and just kind of move on. So so that does kind of vary, but it's really just me having the intention of letting go of that energy, and that usually works pretty well.
Now, how does the channeling work? Like ancestral, passed on. Like how does that even work?
It's
Like,
something that I never thought I would be doing. It's still something that I don't do um, very often. I don't consider myself a medium or anything like that. But I can do it. I have done it. Um, and I didn't know that I could do it until somebody asked me um, if I would do a reading for her, um, to communicate with her father, who had passed um, many years ago.
hmm,
And I was like, I've never tried it before, but sure, why not? And I was just using the tarot cards to get messages, but then I definitely felt the presence of her father, and yeah, then I realized, okay, it was a really powerful experience. And I realized it's not just, that spirit can communicate through cards, and you can get messages through cards, but also this person can actually come through and transmit messages through me.
hmm.
So that was my first time really experiencing that. Um, and it was, yeah, I was able, like, I just, I don't know. It's almost like it just became, it was like a natural thing. Um, so yeah, part of my journey, I realized, like, even using cards and stuff, um, it's something that it felt really natural. It felt like that door, when I was mentioning the key and unlocking the door, um, it's like it was just a part of me, that just this natural ability that I had. And now, it kind of feels like it's something I've been doing for 10 years.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It just feels like it's always been a part of me. It's actually hard to really imagine me not being able to do these things, because um, it it's just this natural evolution, and nothing that I've intended any of it.
Hmm.
But spirit and ancestors, they'd be like, "Girl,
Hey, we
get ready."
here. Right.
so, so yeah,
When I call you, answer.
yeah,
I
yeah.
heard
So
that.
I'm just as surprised sometimes by the things that I can do. Um, but you know how you just have you just kind of get um that natural compass.
Hmm.
Um, and that's kind of what it has been for me
Mm.
when it comes to channeling and all types of other stuff that I do. So,
Just
so yeah,
full of surprises.
yeah,
Full of surprises. That's
yes. And
word.
I know I made such a blanket statement when I said full of surprises, because it's just so true.
I know it's
Um,
true.
so
Once y'all get to know Melanin Moonseed, you'll know it's probably gonna be something else next week that you never knew about. You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
Definitely. So tell me a little bit about just off the top of the dome. If it's one tarot card that you had to choose off the top of the dome and a deck that you appreciate the most, what would that be? And give us the reason why it resonates with you the most.
Oh, I can only pick one.
Just
I
one.
would say, I would say, my first tarot deck, which is Vision Quest, and the card, man, only one card. I would
Just
say the card that I connect with the most, or that has a lot of great meaning
mm-hmm.
to me in that particular deck, is the Small Medicine Wheel. Um, and the reason is because of the whole process of me even getting that deck. Um, I was totally led by spirit. I had a vision of the deck, well, of the back of the deck. Because when you buy a deck of cards, you don't know what the backing of the cards look like. Like, that's not on the box.
Is that
Um,
something that they do on purpose, or is it that's just like how does that work?
you don't see the back of the cards, but they'll have, some decks will have the images of what the card is, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't see like the decoration of the back of the card.
Hmm.
I don't know why.
Yeah, that seems like it's
Because
a purpose.
most people want to see the actual image, like the image on the front of the card. I view the front of the card as, when I'm flipping over the card and the person can see like what those images are, like that's the front of the card to me. So I had a vision about it before I even knew, like I didn't even know, it didn't resonate until I actually had already bought the deck and opened the deck, and I was like, oh man, I've been seeing this image. Um, so yeah, that whole process. And then I pulled a card for myself, and that was the first card that I ever pulled for myself, um, using that deck. So yeah, and that the question that I had at the time, when it came to that was the answer that I got. So it was a very memorable and transforming experience for me.
Mm. So this question is actually not something I wrote down, but I did think about as we was talking, given, your background and all of the wonderful things that you do. How is it being Black, you know, and then identifying, you know, as lesbian in the LGBTQ community? and not really having a visual representation of um, other, tarot readers that fit in that community. Like, how was that experience for you? Even to the cards, you know, it's one thing to try to go on YouTube or, try to go to some media outlet and find them when it's really scarce, it lacks. But then another to, like, when people are doing personal readings and then every time they refer to a person, it's like man and woman, woman and man, like, you know what I mean? Like, how is that for you? How is that for you? How do you feel about that?
When it comes to the cards, it is a challenge to find decks that reflect not only um, people of color, but also when it comes to um, same-sex relationships. Um, it's one of those things I kind of, when you think, you know, the time that tarot cards actually even how they came into existence, and just that time frame of I mean that particular um, time, which it is not officially known when they actually were created, but when they started to become more and more used, um, you have to think back, you know, centuries ago, like when it came to people of color or even same sex anything, that wasn't even something that was necessarily open or appropriate.
Right.
So I went in kind of understanding that, but I definitely find it frustrating um, sometimes when it comes to different decks, because there are so many decks, and so the frustrating thing is that it is when it comes to um, seeing people of color in the decks, it is hard to find um, a wide variety, um, which is why I tend to use a lot of oracle cards. I like to use a combination of tarot and oracle. Um, and it kind of comes with the territory, though. Um, but this is also where even people within the queer Black creative community, those that are interested in using types of spiritual tools, this is where these artistic people can, as they become more aware, or if they're interested in these things, they can start to create decks that do reflect that. There are a couple of decks, I don't have them, that do there's a lot that I don't have that do kind of show kind of multicultural um, style decks. I have a couple of them, and I tend to post those quite more so on my Instagram. So there's some out there. There's just not a wide variety.
Hmm.
However, it's like at the end of the day, it's more about the message and the experience of using the tools. But I think over time, you'll have people that are going to putting that artistic work out there. I definitely think that's something over the next few years you'll see more of that.
I heard that. I feel that. True. And yeah, I feel that. So, what would you tell somebody who is interested in tarot reading, but they don't really know how to start? They're like, I don't know, I don't know how to really get into it. I mean, I know the answer would probably be just to do it, but with all the stipulations and everything that comes with spirituality, for some people that could be a battle. So,
I
what would you
think,
recommend?
well, first, I think, when it comes to, um, it's already hard enough to be, if you are Black and then you step out of that Christian circle,
Mhm.
that quick Christian ball and chain, that already is a
By the
thing,
book.
right?
Right.
Right. And then it's also a thing if you are gay, lesbian, transgender, bi, whatever. So when you put those two things together, it's almost like, it's like I came out once as a lesbian. Now it's like coming out again. Like I feel like it's a coming out story again. You know what I mean? And it's actually worse. It's
Right.
like
Like,
if your
wait, so
parents would want to choose,
you,
like
yeah.
if you're going to be gay or Christian, they're going to pick. They would rather you be Christian. So
Right.
it's like super rebel. Um, so I definitely, and that was part of my journey. Definitely feeling like, oh shit, like I'm this is another coming out type of thing. Which not even there's a lot of my family does not even know that I am a tarot reader. They're gonna find out. um, and it's something. So when it comes to so it's like that internal battle that we deal with when it comes to our sexuality. It's even that much stronger when it comes to your spirituality. And it's something with my sexuality. I've had conversations with people about, man, like, can you be lesbian and be Christian, or what does that mean when it comes to my beliefs and things like that? And so that was a whole thing. So now it's taking it to another whole nother level. But now it's like, although it can feel scary, there's part of it that is scary because it's this unknown, but a lot of it really has to do with, um, you have to think like a lot of us have been just we grew up with that mindset of these certain types of religions, um, and beliefs to be the be all end all.
Hmm.
So it's going to be a challenge. It is very much part of the journey because you have to it's almost like, you know, in the same way that a person, you don't gain weight overnight, you don't lose weight overnight. You can't break a habit overnight. So those same things that were ingrained in us for years, it's going to take a while to um, unplug yourself from the matrix. It's going to take a while to release some of those thought patterns and those habits. And even if it's beliefs that we don't agree with, they're kind of still in the back of our mind because we've been kind of, molded into that. Um, However, although the journey is going to be uncomfortable um, in a lot of ways, like most journeys are, um, that uncomfortability, is that a word? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it's it is just your your spirit body letting go of the things that no longer serve you.
Hmm.
That process is never going to be comfortable, ever. It's not. However, once you accept your that growth, spiritual growth, is uncomfortable, just accept that that's what it is, and that it's always there's going to be some areas of challenge. Um, then you learn to appreciate what you receive on the other end of it,
Hmm.
um, because it's just conditioning you. Just like if you were training for a marathon and you are running, you're out of shape, and then it doesn't feel good. But then as you start to train yourself, as you start to prepare yourself more, your body becomes accustomed to it. Your body adapts. So in the same way your spirit adapts to those habits, those um, those chains that we have when it comes to our thoughts and our beliefs, um, you start to learn how to let those things go. It's all about conditioning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That transitional process of like breaking down the compounds and, you know, the traditional thoughts that we hold. It's like, honestly, sometimes it can be a form of brainwashing too.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, why is it starting? Hold on.
Yeah. No flex.
Let me music started playing in my ear loud. But you know, when you are told something for so long, kind of like, what you said, and you that's what you used to for so long, it kind of becomes a habit, and breaking from that, especially when that's all you've known all your life, it's like, man, it can be a very draining process. But at the same time, when you do come out that cave, when you do come out the hermit case, it's like, I'm free at last.
Hmm.
Break every chain.
Yeah,
For
definitely.
real.
It's something, and and it it doesn't ever stop. Like even now, I'm still there's always room to grow. I'm still learning. There's still things I'm like, oh man, do I have to do this, or is this really the next step? Or there's always things that I'm not comfortable with. It's just a part of the journey. There's things that I'm not always happy about doing that I know I need to do in order to reach that next level, um, in order to grow deeper. It's like you're going leveling up and also strengthening those roots. It goes back to the seed. You have to break the seed open, and that shit hurts sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it really
um,
does.
yeah, but it's all right. It really is, especially when you just trust the process and when you really start to experience those. You start to build that relationship with spirit. Um, then you start to trust things more. Then it'll be easier to go through it because you know that on the other side, no matter how uncomfortable it is right now, on the other side it's going to be worth it.
Right.
And there's a sense of freedom when um, you just make a decision like, okay, I'm not, if you're trying to break out of Christianity or some other type of religion, because there's a difference between religion and spirituality. Um, and which is why I definitely consider myself a spiritualist. And um, because I was searching for a long time, I was searching like, well, if I'm not Christian, then what am I? For years, I was saying I was transitioning out of Christianity because I felt like I had to be transitioning. I had to be going to something else. But then one day I realized it was like, no, you don't have to be transitioning into another religion. It's about letting go of the religion. For me, not everybody's going to be that way. Um, for me, religion is just not. It doesn't bring out the best side of me. It's not something. It's too. There's too much like jurisdiction. There's too much judgment.
Too much
Um,
restraint.
and yeah, and that's not something. Um, that's not something that works for me. However, there are people that can be very spiritual and very religious, and they're working within the realm of um, the rules and the regulations of that religion. Um, but some people use religion as a way to justify their um, their small-mindedness or their fears, or um, it goes a lot deeper.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on so once again, it depends on the person, because I'm not saying that I'm against religion.
Mhm.
It's just something that I am not a part of. However, I do, as a spiritualist, I definitely I study religion. I still, look at read religious texts and things like that. It's all about, as a spiritualist, I look at things. I look at everything.
Right.
I look at everything. I want it, and it's having that freedom to know. It's like, oh, I might want to be looking at Hinduism, and then I'm looking at um, you know, um, Buddhism, or um, or digging into the religious, the history of Christianity, which, because it's interesting, it's good to know when it comes to those things, like how do the pieces connect? What are the similarities? What are the differences? How do these things how are these texts, are these religious texts based in actual history? Have they been proven that these events happened within history? So if for those that are into that, it's definitely worth the exploration, and it's there's a sense of freedom with you can explore things and not be a part of that belief system, but it's really just having the knowledge, just like you would with any type of other interest.
Right.
So yeah, that word spiritualist, it's it's a big umbrella for a lot of things.
Hmm.
Covers a lot, and it's everybody's own journey, you know. Um, so yeah.
Hmm. Well said, Jess. Well said. Um. Wow. Wow. That's why I love talking to you. um. Could I have you possibly pull a card and kind of explain? I guess maybe set the tone, set the mood um for this archive um today.
Sure. Hold on for a second. Wrapping the deck here. Well, do you want me to use an oracle deck or a tarot deck?
Hmm. Let's go with the oracle today.
Okay. All right. Give this a shuffle. We have a jumper. Opportunity beckons. So what I am getting from this card is really looking it it's kind of what I was talking about when it comes to my views as a spiritualist. Um, it's just such a large umbrella. It covers like so much. Um, it's all about expansion, um, but also deepening your knowledge of whatever it is that you're interested in. Um, there is always going to be an opportunity for you to not only learn of the world, but learn of the spirit, and fuse those two things together, because the combination of those two is it's what represents who you are. Um, it's like you're the bridge. You are like the body is just that's the thing. The body is such a temporary thing. This realm is just it's just one of so many things, and one of so many realms, so many different experiences. So when you learn to realize that it's the soul that is infinite, um, and the body is just like, you know, it's like putting on clothes, you know. However, it's just, this is your outfit for this realm, and your soul travels. You have this opportunity um, to navigate between um, the the earthly realm and the spirit. That is the opportunity that's there. So when it comes to what you are moved or inspired to do, for those that are interested in deepening their spirituality, or just, and it's really, it's kind of like not feeling like you have to, oh, if I start looking, reading about voodoo, that means I'm, um, I'm all of a sudden, no, it doesn't work that way. But you have a right to be curious. You have a right to explore. You have a right to just discover things. So the opportunity is there. It's just, what step are you willing to take? It's really about deciding which route you want to go. When it comes to expert, you can explore all the different routes. It's all about just being curious and knowing that you can navigate between the two. Not only you can, but you should, because that is what we are here to do, to understand why we are on this earth and what is next for us in our next lifetime. Yeah.
Right on time, universe. Right on time. And it jumped too.
It did. Yeah. And the 4 is I just put the card here. So that number 4 is all about stability. And a lot of times, especially with our spiritual journey, or feeling like you're stuck between your so-called like earthly habits, or your, versus like the responsibilities you need to do to, or things you need to do to connect spiritually. There is a lack of stability, and you kind of feel like you don't have that balance between like the things that you want to do versus the things you feel like you need to do. And really, it's about accepting the opportunities that are in front of you. It's about acceptance. Like I mentioned earlier, my journey, it was something that I ran away from for years. I was in denial. I was, I'm like, why do I see things? It's a whole, I'm not even gonna go there. That's a whole nother hour. But I got to a point where I could no longer ignore the messages. I just stopped. I looked at what was in front of me and I accepted it. Like, okay, I don't know where this is going to take me, but let me accept that this is what's happening. Let me just be open to exploring it, whatever that may mean. Because at the end of the day, you can always step backwards if you want to.
True that.
Right. But if you want to stand still and stay stuck, then that's exactly what you'll do. So with that 4, it's all about, that journey, and accepting those things in front of you will allow you stability. And it's not going to come overnight, but you have to do the work. So if you're feeling unsure, unstable, if you're feeling torn between something, keep going back and forth, feeling indecisive, then it's kind of like a wake-up call, like, okay, what fear is attached to that indecisiveness? What are you afraid? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you decide to explore or be curious, ask questions about certain things when it comes to your emotions, your mindset, your spiritual growth, using spiritual tools, following a particular religious system or spiritual systems, because there's so many different types of things, and it's not feeling like if you start something you have to commit to it 100%. You don't. Just commit to trusting the process and accepting that you can explore and do whatever spirit is leading you to do. So the stability is in the trust. It's in the accepting of exploring the journey.
Music came on again, but
Yeah, I can hear it.
it definitely sees headphones on, but maybe that was confirmation. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, it was confirmation. It definitely, I know for me personally, it definitely hit home. Um, man, it's this. I was just talking to Sam last night, um, and I'll talk more about CM for y'all that don't know. I'll probably have her on one of these days too. Um, just like the unexpected and the unknown in life, and like, you know, the opportunities that do come to us, like you don't know what's going to happen from today or tomorrow.
Hmm.
So focusing on stuff that really doesn't serve you or your purpose, it's kind of like, it's kind of irrelevant. You know what I mean? I mean, we went a little bit deeper into what the background of that whole story was, but it's like things can change so fast. You know what I mean? So when you have an opportunity presented to yourself and you have a call in for something, I mean, you got to go at it full force, you know?
Definitely, definitely. That was very much my journey on this spiritual path, and how even my inspiration to start my the Melaninmoonseed Instagram um, was that next step, you know. And now I will be starting a YouTube channel um, in July.
That was going to be
Um,
my my last and next question. What can we look forward to from Melaninmoonseed? Tell us about what
yeah,
we'll be seeing with Melaninmoonseed.
yeah. So this card is a slap in my face too, because that opportunity, the same thing, you know. um, because I was behind the scenes for a while and just word of mouth type of thing, and then I just wanted a place to kind of share, just to share, and that's what I used my Instagram for. Um, I didn't, although I do have on there that I am a tarot reader. Um, I don't sell anything. I don't. That's not my intention. It was just to share. But it's been one of those things where it's like, okay, it is. You know, I've been getting the messages, getting these signs that it's time for me to put myself out there more. Um, so that was, you know, I reluctantly had to accept that. It's like, okay, this is uncomfortable. This is, you know, but this is the next step. So, what you can look forward to is my YouTube channel for sure, and also just the same, you know, on my Instagram messages, daily messages. I don't post every single day anymore, but I do still like doing those. So you can still continue to see that um, on my Instagram, but on my YouTube channel, my intention will be to go a little bit more in depth. Some people say that, you know, that minute, you know, they want more.
Right. It's like, so you
So
got
yeah,
anything else to share today? Like
right.
a little
So
teaser, little appetizer.
yeah, yeah, and I think it's a great introduction for people. And
Right.
I stick with oracle cards on my Instagram for those mini videos that I do. But on my YouTube channel, I will use a combination of tarot cards and oracle cards. And what I'm planning to doing what I'm planning to do is I'll be doing a reading, energy reading for each week. So you probably see a reading each week, and I will eventually be opening up um, that do want to get a reading from me. I will have contact information on my YouTube channel for those that want to um, schedule a reading. So I will have that opportunity there. I don't think I'm going to have that on my Instagram. It's still going to be for sharing. So, but yeah, it definitely will be there on my YouTube.
Yeah, I think I got a confirmation. It's a dragonfly that just landed right on the side of my laptop. Like literally, it's a yellow. Let me see if I could take. Don't run. Hold on. I'm gonna send you a picture of it. It's literally a dragonfly right on the side of my.
I think dragonflies are so cool.
Dang it! Why you leave me? That was a confirmation. Just get out there, put your shit out there. We want to know more about you. We want to know more about, Melaninmoonseed, and just especially the, black spirituality, because it's really lacking. Even if it wasn't lacking, it's always, no, I'm not gonna say even if it wasn't lacking, because it's lacking. It's always here good to see and hear, you know, just having that visual representation, of people, that you can relate to, and not just, just some random. I mean, I understand that, spiritually it is about the message, and I totally, I don't discredit anybody who's out there doing it, no matter where you from, what your background is, what you look like, whatever. But it's just really nice and comforting to have somebody that, like, I see you. Like, I see
Right.
you.
And especially within the LGBT community,
Yes. Yeah.
for those that do follow my Instagram, they'll see when I make videos in the tags, I will put lesbian culture or Black queer magic or lesbian mystic or things like that. It's because, like, I think there's a lot of conscious and spiritual people within in the Black community. However, when it comes to the LGBT community, the conscious LGBT community, that is where I realize it's like they're out there, but we don't necessarily. There isn't like a like a set place, a place people can come to
Right.
really have those types of conversations. Um, and not saying that Black conscious communities don't accept the LGBT community. That I'm not saying that at all. However, the types of conversations that um, conscious people of color that also identify with the LGBT community, that is something that needs to be put out in the forefront too, because the type of conversations that we have, like I mentioned, for myself, not only coming out as a lesbian, but now that whole coming out, breaking free of those religious chains, um, it takes things so much deeper. There's so many so many
Layers.
conversations that we could go to,
Layers.
so many layers. Yes.
Layers.
And how, when it comes to dealing with religion versus sexuality, and then, you know what I mean, like, versus your spiritual journey and um, your journey exploring yourself, identifying who you are when it comes to your sexuality or your gender, and then how those two things support or compare and contrast with each other. Those are definitely topics that I think should be shed, light should be shed on, um, which is another reason why I wanted to started putting myself out there more and started realizing, like, yeah, let me put on here that I'm a lesbian. Let me put on here that I'm a spiritualist. Let me put on here that I'm vegan, um, or that I'm also a certified health coach. I have a whole nother business doing that.
Right.
But it's
Jack,
like you,
the Jack.
yeah, it's just all
Just
types of
spread
stuff.
out.
So there's all these different things that I do, and I know there's other people out there. However, it's like, it'd be great to just have that sense of community and bring all of us together so we can have those conversations. And so for those that are unsure, that are curious, they have a place to go to. They have a place to, they can find. It's like, oh, okay, I know I can go here if I have a question, because there are certain things that someone within the LGBT community would be able to resonate with me, because they know, okay, well, I know she's a lesbian. I know she doesn't, she's not. There's certain things that she would be able to get that you necessarily you don't know how that would transpire with other people or something like that. So for me, it was really important to emphasize the fact that that I am a lesbian, and to reach out to others within the LGBT community. And this is not excluding anyone that's not of the LGBT community, but it's really putting the emphasis there, like we are out here, like there are conscious um, people of color that are lesbian, that are gay, that are bi, that are transgender,
Yeah.
that are all those things, that we're here. Yeah.
Right. We here, bitch.
Yes. Yes. You gotta get ready.
Right. 'Cause we've been,
Because we a mess
we've been
too.
bringing on the heat, but the heat, it's like it just been turned up, kicked up a
Mm.
notch. You know what I mean? Like it's 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 really good. I really do appreciate you, Jess. I know as Virgos, it is really hard for us to put ourselves out there. And just, I mean, people in general, but I'm gonna speak from the Virgo side of things. Like it can be really hard to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and
Mm-hmm.
share your experiences, because that stuff to us is really private. But
Yes.
it comes to a right, but it comes to a point in time where you have to get to the point that you can't hold all of that stuff in. Like,
Right.
I mean, if you don't want to put it out on a video, or if you don't want to, do all of that extra stuff, I wouldn't even say extra, just don't want to do all of that stuff. You can write
Mm-hmm.
it out, but somebody needs to hear you. You know what I mean? Because it's probably somebody, or a little young Virgo, or whatever, your side is, like, just in the corner, probably struggling with themselves. Like, I can relate too. Like, coming out, I wasn't even coming out. That we'll get to that topic another day. But feeling like you don't have nobody to talk
Mm-hmm.
to about just being yourself, being who you are, and you got people like tagging you, making you feel shame for not even the decision, something, your truth, living your truth like that. We need that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Representation. I know we hear this all the time. We see it all the time on media, but it's true. Representation is a motherfucker. Like, you have to put it out there,
Right.
especially something in this, field. It's like Black spirituality, when our history is made up of religion, it's from slavery and beyond, like, and just really branching out, and having your own mind and your own way of thinking and understanding what it is that you truly believe in, not anybody else, but
Mm-hmm.
what you believe in. That's a lot, and I really do appreciate you for, like, coming through to the QBC archives and, like, really just putting it on the line. I mean, I know it ain't everything, but I know that it's enough to where people could be like, you know what? I feel you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you. For sure.
Yeah. Definitely. I definitely enjoyed um, this conversation, and yeah, whenever you want to have another discussion, just let me know, and we can, if there's any other topics you want to cover later on down the line or something like that, keep me
Oh,
posted.
we definitely will. And I think I'm gonna have an interview with Aluna, but
That's my
I'm gonna
sister.
have an interview with right. That's bae.
Oh man, our story is crazy.
Yeah, after I interview Aluna, what I want to do is have both of y'all on the line one time, like we all do a three-way, so we can
Oh,
go
that's gonna be a whole
deeper
hell of a party.
into.
Let me.
I know.
I'm not
I'm
even
so
kidding.
excited for that. I'm so excited for that. Like, it's gonna be off the chain. I
I am
can't
not even
wait.
kidding. I am not even kidding. That is gonna be insane.
Yeah, I'll probably call it a party, the QBC Archives party, like spiritual. I don't know. We'll figure out something to name it, but we'll have it like it's live. That'll be like one of the lives that we can do for sure. And people could come in and we could chat and talk, and we'll get to it, but I do appreciate you for coming to the QBC archives once again, and we will definitely talk down the line. And this will be dropping on this, what did I say, July? I'm trying to do I'm thinking of doing it every Friday or something like that. But let me stop the broadcast real quick. 1 second.